Inmates in Alabama can be violent or sneaky to get what they want, but every once in a while, these shady actions are caught on camera in stunning 4K, and what they show about the police is truly scary. Check out 15 Times This Happened. Casey White is an inmate there and is known as a master manipulator. He was able to get Vicki White, a 17-year police officer who was always a good worker, to do terrible things because she loved Casey. Vicki met Casey in August 2020, while Casey was in prison awaiting trial for murder and serving a 75-year sentence for other crimes. It's not clear how their relationship started, but it may have started when Casey reportedly commented on Vicki's body from her cell window. During their 2-year relationship, Vicki and Casey kept it a secret, talking on the phone a lot about their love and dreams of a life together. When they weren't together, Vicki had been planning an escape with Casey for months. Selling her house for less than it was worth to pay for her, they eventually got away and were on the run for 11 days. But the police chase ended in Indiana. Sadly, Vicki killed herself when the police arrived, while Casey was caught and sent back to prison. Curtis Warren, a hardened criminal from Liverpool, took advantage of Stephanie Smith White's weakness to manipulate her. Warren tried to get her involved in illegal activities like bringing drugs into prison and asking about the surveillance systems there. Their relationship was more than just a relationship. Smith White had Warren's name tattooed on his body, and the two were intimate in different parts of the prison. Warren, who is said to have continued her criminal activities while she was in jail, used her cell phone to stay in touch with Smith White. They called each other 213 times in just 3 months. Smith White had been trained to spot manipulative inmates, but she was still swayed by Warren, who had relationships with other prison staff. When investigators became suspicious, they set up surveillance and found there is proof that Smith White gave sexually explicit notes to Warren. Warren even tried to eat one when police came to get it. But Smith White said she felt bad about it and hoped the relationship could continue once she was out. Dino Harrison, a 21-year-old prisoner convicted of robbery and drug trafficking, started dating prison officer Aisha Gobsley by using her to make his life easier in prison. They met through Instagram messages sent from Harrison's unauthorized cell phone. Harrison told Gobsley that he had never fallen in love so quickly, and she told him that she trusted him completely. Gobsley hid the fact that Harrison had the phone and even warned Harrison about cell searches. When Harrison's phone was found, their relationship was also found, which led to Gobsley being arrested and facing misconduct charges. Prosecutors said she committed 3 serious offenses, including having a romantic relationship with an inmate and failing to report Harrison's possession of the phone. Gobsley was given a 16-month prison sentence at Bournemouth Crown Court for using an unauthorized device and telling him about the inspections, even though she admitted she was sorry for what she did. Sarah Williams, an officer at HMP Alt Course in Liverpool, was tricked into an inappropriate relationship by prisoner Craig Stinson. Stinson, who is known for being sneaky, took advantage of Williams's weaknesses to gain her trust and control her emotions. The relationship started when Williams, who was having problems in her personal life, found comfort in Stinson's care, used both flattery and sophisticated psychological tricks to get Williams to fall in love with him. At the same time, Williams was having inappropriate relationships with 2 other prisoners. She knew that all 3 of them had unauthorized cell phones, but she didn't tell anyone. Instead, she exchanged thousands of text messages and calls with them, including intimate conversations and pictures. The investigation into Williams began in early 2020 when the prison learned about her relationships with other prisoners. A search of her cell phone later revealed multiple phones with more than 12 zeros. 00 calls and text messages between Williams and prisoners. When Williams' home was searched, Information about criminal gangs, including rivals of prisoners, was also found, along with proof that she had sent money to an inmate after he was moved to a different prison. John Maji, a prisoner from Liverpool, skillfully manipulated prison officer Emily Watson Maji, who was found guilty of killing someone by dangerous driving, used his charm and cunning to take advantage of Watson's weakness, which led to a physical relationship. Despite having a criminal history, Maji was able to build a relationship with Watson. He contacted her on Instagram using an iPhone 6 hidden in a PlayStation opened with a screwdriver that looked like a pen. They talked on FaceTime, and Watson sent Maji naked photos and an inappropriate video even though she was a prison officer. Watson, 26, was described as a thrill seeker, and Watson was spending too much time talking to Maji, which led to an investigation into their relationship. From October 2017 to the end of January 2018, she was having an intimate relationship with a prisoner and pleaded guilty to misconduct in public office. Judge Perry said Watson's family would feel betrayed knowing Maji could talk to her from her cell and criticized the fact that a prisoner could talk to a prisoner. Maji was given an extra year in prison on top of his existing sentence for having an unauthorized phone and charger. In a sad case, Alex Coxon, a prisoner at HMP Berwyn, used smart tricks to get Jennifer Gavin to fall in love with him. Gavin sent Coxon revealing photos of himself on Snapchat, which turned the relationship into a relationship. Coxon, who lives on Reese Avenue, Kinmel Bay, was caught using a phone that was hidden under a laptop in her cell. On the phone, there were intimate photos of Gavin that she admitted to sending to Coxon via Snapchat, including a picture of herself kissing a woman who was in custody. The court was told that Gavin faces career ruin and deep regret. Her defense attorney, Maria Mellies, said that Gavin had just been through a hard time and felt manipulated by Coxon, who she thought was in love with her. Judge Perry criticized her, Gavin's actions, saying that she had lost control of her feelings and acted in the wrong way. In another case, prison officer Joanne Hunter fell in love with an inmate named Connor Willis. Attraction isn't always the reason, but Willis used Hunter to bring drugs into the prison hidden in juice boxes and Red Bull cans, kissed Willis, and sent him intimate photos of herself. When Hunter was caught, she admitted it and was sentenced to 3 years in prison. Hunter admitted that she had been manipulated and taken advantage of by Willis, who she thought loved her. At the beginning of their relationship, Hunter didn't like Willis, but over time she grew to like him and trust him. It was too late for Hunter to realize that she had made a big mistake. Amber Cleville, a prison officer, fell victim to a complex scheme by Mark Kennedy, an inmate who was serving time for serious drug trafficking charges. Kennedy took advantage of Cleville's weakness and led her into a relationship with Kennedy. When she graduated and started working as a correctional officer in 2022, Clell promised to be loyal and follow the law. But just 2 years later, while working at the Jeffrey Pierce Correctional Center, she broke that promise. Kennedy, who had a history of drug abuse, sucked Cleville into a month-long relationship in which she did illegal things. Cleville brought crystal meth into prison for Kennedy by hiding it in balloons tucked into her bra. The relationship went on in secret, and Cleville got pregnant. She told her coworkers about her condition and how she felt about it. But things came to an end in April when Cleville was caught bringing 33 g of methamphetamine into the prison for her lover. Cleville pleaded guilty to 6 charges, including misconduct in the performance of official duties, accessing and changing restricted data, having an inappropriate relationship with an inmate, and endangering the safety and order of a prison judge. Stephen Corey sentenced Cleville to 2 years and 3 months of strict probation and 200 hours of community service. The court also looked into claims that Cleville was involved in bringing drugs into prison and illegally delivering them to Kennedy. The tragic story of Amy Connors, a correctional officer, is a clear example of crossing professional boundaries and falling victim to manipulation by an inmate. Penasini, who is serving time for the murder of police officer Glenn McCallie in 2002, took advantage of Penasini, was given 36 years in prison for shooting and killing the police officer. Meanwhile, Amy Connors's home life was in chaos. Her husband had been suspicious and sure for months that she was cheating on him with someone in prison. His jealousy led to an internal investigation when he asked for the name of the officer with whom she had been having an affair. Prison intelligence officers found out the truth. Amy had used her position to get what she wanted. Amy was fired right away because she had access to Penasini's cell at night, and Penasini was sent to Goulburn Supermax prison for allegedly assaulting another inmate. But that wasn't the end of the story. Police later found that between July 2nd and July 22nd, Amy had given sensitive information to other inmates and kept a package addressed to someone else without doing her job properly. Amy Connors was arrested at her Smithtown home after police investigated her relationship with Shin Penasini. She was charged with misconduct in public office and engaging in fraudulent conduct. Her actions not only broke her professional code of conduct, but they also had serious effects on her work and family life. Jared Smith, a smart prisoner, lied to prison officer Demi Zeski so she could satisfy her sexual needs and smuggle drugs. In 2015, Smith, 23, pleaded guilty to dangerous driving causing death. It is alleged that Zeski, a NSW correctional officer, was manipulated by Smith to get what she wanted. She switched from day to night shifts at Long Bay Correctional Center to meet and have sex with 32-year-old serial killer prisoner Jared Smith. The two are said to have used the prison gym as a meeting place during the night shifts to do inappropriate things. Zeski's actions not only broke professional boundaries, but also hurt trust in her role as the person in charge of keeping order and discipline in the facility. The affair was eventually found out when other officials caught Zeski and Smith together. Zeski quit before he could be punished, but no legal charges were brought against the prison staff or inmates. Corrections Minister David Elliott ordered the creation of a task force to investigate misconduct in prisons. He also asked the Attorney General to come up with ways to make similar misconduct more punishable in the future. Michael Kronshaw, a 36-year-old prisoner at HMP Buckley Hall in Rodale, used charm and manipulation to trick not one but two people. Kronshaw, who was serving a sentence for robbery, started dating officers Alicia Bates and Jody Wilkes at the same time, putting them both in the middle of a complicated love triangle. Alicia Bates, who is thought to have been Cronshaw's first love interest, started dating him from December 2019 to June 2020 while she was a warder at the 450-bed Category C men's prison, and Jody Wilkes, who was an operations support officer, was also seeing him. Was manipulated by Kronshaw and had a relationship with him from April to June 2020. Both Bates and Wilkes sent Kronshaw thousands of messages, including some nude photos. The relationship was eventually found out, which caused a major scandal in the prison. An investigation found that both officers had seriously broken professional boundaries, which put the safety and order of the facility at risk. Kronshaw used these relationships not only to satisfy her emotional needs, but also to get special treatment and the chance to bringing drugs into the prison. Alicia Bates was given a sentence of 2 years and 8 months for misconduct, and Jody Wilkes was given a sentence of 12 months and would not be able to work for 2 years. Andrew Hull used manipulation and charm to get prison officer Claire Lloyd involved in an uncontrollable relationship. Even though Claire knew that dating an inmate was illegal, she couldn't stop her feelings for Hall. They talked on the phone and through text messages hundreds of times, with many conversations lasting up to 2 hours. Claire ignored the fact that Hall was using an illegal cell phone in prison and continued to chat with him. In the messages she sent, Claire hinted at undressing and even shared deep feelings like wanting to kiss and hug him. In July 2022, Hall was happy to hear that Claire was working in her ward of the prison. She continued to text him, telling him she loved him and professing her feelings. When rumors of their relationship started to spread in prison, Claire defended Hall and denied any criticism, saying that the complaints were unfounded and self-serving, but the affair was finally found in August when an alarm went off in Hall's cell. Prison officers arrived and asked Claire to leave. Claire tried to say that the incident was her fault, but it was too late. After she was arrested, Claire called Hall her soulmate and big softy, implying how deep the relationship may have been, though the exact depths could not be determined. Claire Lloyd's career crashed and she was suspended from work. While Hall continued to exert, they were later given an extra 9 months in prison on top of their existing sentences for misconduct in the relationship. Laverne Ford Morgan is a dangerous prisoner serving a life sentence for murder, having a gun, and having weapons with the intent to endanger life. But he was still able to get prison officer Olivia Hodgson involved in a relationship that went way beyond what was allowed. It all began in early 2020 at HMP GU in Lancaster, where Hodgson had been working since 2017 and started acting in a way that was completely against her duties. She brought Ford Morgan a cell phone into the prison in secret so that he could use it and stay in touch with her through text messages. Despite the strict prison rules, the two became closer and closer until January 2021. When Ford Morgan was transferred to another detention facility. On July 30, 2021, his cell phone was found during a raid, which revealed their whole secret relationship. Soon after Hodgson was arrested, Olivia Hodgson was arrested at work, and when police searched her home, they found another phone with intimate photos of her and Ford Morgan on it, along with a birthday card with the inmate's fingerprints on it. The investigation showed that Hodgson knew the serious consequences of crossing the line with an inmate. She had been trained on the risks of breaking professional ethics, but she still chose the wrong path. Her actions not only broke trust, but they also seriously damaged the safety and integrity of the correctional system. In the end, Hodgson was punished by the law for abusing her power. She was given 8 months in prison for misconduct in public office. It was a sad ending to a bad decision. Like Laverne Ford Morgan, Adam Higgs was able to trick a prison officer, this time Katie Loxton, using a sophisticated fake contact network while working at HMP Oakwood in Staffordshire. Loxton started dating Higgs, and the two used the prison's intercom system to talk to each other secretly between July and September 2021 to January 2022. Higgs made 451 calls to these numbers, totaling more than 380 hours of contact and costing him almost $800. These long conversations were not only emotional, but also far beyond what was allowed, including intimate behavior over the phone. Higgs also kept a cell phone hidden so he could stay in touch with Loxton through social media. Suspicions were raised when police noticed that Loxton often showed up in Higgs's custody for no apparent reason. A search of her home on the 27th of January found 3 handwritten letters sent by Higgs. Both Loxton and Higgs admitted to the crimes when they were questioned in prison in March 2022 at Wolverhampton Crown Court. Loxton was given a 12-month prison sentence for misconduct in public office, and Higgs was given an additional 8-month prison sentence for possessing an unauthorized device in a prison, specifically a device that could transmit or receive images, sounds, or information. Staffordshire Police Detective Inspector Adam McHugh said the two used complicated ways to hide their relationship. Getting around both, he stressed that the department is dedicated to upholding the ethical standards that the public has a right to expect and praised Loxton's eventual admission that Her actions were completely in line with those standards. Finally, today's list includes the scary story of Tara Brooks, a prison guard at Parkley Prison who lost her job after falling for inmate Hassan Zirika's psychological trap. Brooks worked there for 2 years before her life took a turn for the worse as Ziria, a 41-year-old inmate with he slowly won her trust and love by using the alias Belinda Taylor Brooks, who set up a private mailbox and started writing letters to Ziria. These letters were the start of a dangerous secret relationship that went against professional and moral standards. This was all found out when police searched Zirika's cell and found a phone he used to talk to Brooks on, along with many personal letters and even a Valentine's card Brooks himself had sent. These facts showed that they had an inappropriate emotional relationship after she was arrested. Brooks's lawyers tried to say that she had suffered psychological trauma and a distorted perception of her relationship because she felt unappreciated and uncared for. They used the Mental Health Act to ask for leniency, but the judge turned down their case. Brooks couldn't hide her tears as she heard the sentence, and her family sat quietly next to her. Even though they admitted that the relationship hadn't gone physical, they emphasized how close they were and said that it was a dangerous step toward misconduct. Zirika skillfully took advantage of Brooks's emotional weakness, which led her to gradually break professional boundaries. In the end, Brooks was given a 2-year supervision order under new laws in New South Wales based on a psychological assessment that found she had been the victim of sophisticated manipulation. The judge also acknowledged the personal struggles she was going through. He talked about how bad it is to let your feelings get in the way of doing your job as a citizen. That's all for today's video. Which of these prisoners do you think is the best at manipulating people? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to click on the tags on the screen to find more interesting stories. See you next time.